So how important is social media these days for you, where the business has changed that much?
Sadly, it's very important. I'm not a big social media guy. In fact, I can't stand it. But that's because I'm older. Well, Terry and I are probably the more senior members of
I think I am the most senior, probably drummer alive right now.
Yeah, it is, and it's also a technique. I mean, in my new band, I have two 26-year-olds playing in the band. If you put their ages together, they're still younger than me, you know? And they're just like, it's amazing. Oh yeah, we'll post that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm still going, I've got Instagram, but nobody's sent me a message yet. How do you... Oh, I've run out of battery. You know, but it is very important that what I find sad is YouTube. Let's say one of us is doing a drum clinic tour, and you're over in Europe or the States, and we used to get, in the 70s and the 80s, I mean, we used to get hundreds of people. I mean, you remember, in Germany, you know? It was like, I think Hamburg, I think had 1,200 people, you know, for a drum clinic, which was incredible. And of course, now you're lucky if you get 200, you know? And people were saying, well, I can stay at home, watch YouTube and watch, 20 drummers. Yeah, but it sounds awful.
Yes, it sounds like
smell
shit.
them.
Yeah.
Smell is a very important thing, you know?
It is.
Sound is an important thing. And the fact they only get the bit where they're playing. You don't really hear them chatting about what we were chatting about this afternoon. Mm-hmm. So, it's the same concept where you see the first whole front row like this. Mm-hmm. And the problem is they will never remember that show because they looked at it through a viewfinder. Yeah. And I think the only way they want to do it is because they get home, they want to be the first to post it. They probably never watch it again. Or if they do watch it, they go, oh, that's not how the way it sounded, So I'm okay about it, but if I see too many, I'll stop and I'll go, guys, put your phones away, relax, enjoy the show, and maybe you'll remember this too. So yeah, I'm a little bit, but it's a necessary evil. So
for me, I do that in advance, right? I just say, look, no photos, no videos. You can take pictures of the kit when I'm off stage because that's what the big attraction is anyway. Like circus act. Yeah. Come see the biggest drum kit in the world. Who gives a shit about the guy who's playing it and the lifetime he spent learning how to play it, and do something with it. So
and designing it.
Yeah. So, I don't like that, and I encourage people not to do that, and occasionally there is, and we suffer because that's not the sound I want. That's not the sound that's coming out in the hall. It's just a shitty iPhone recording of it. Yeah. So, I get pissed at that. In terms of the other aspect, I use Facebook and Instagram as a one-way only. Here's what I'm doing if you give a shit, if you give a shit, because otherwise it's just, nothing. I can't receive input from all the people I do the output to and deal with that. I can have a life or I could do that. And so it's just a one-way thing. And now with all this, hacking and public information, like you turn on your phone, you do a Google search, and the last 3 things you bought come up, and they're trying to sell you it again. Right. That stuff bothers me. So, so I just use it as a one-way only thing. And it used to be because of my name, because of your name, who we've played with, we had a kind of even playing field there for a while where, hey, I can, without a record company and without paying a press person or what have you, I can put out, some stuff and let my people know. But if it wasn't for Zappa, I wouldn't be known, right? So young people coming up have the same now credibility as me, somebody gets 1 million viewers or whatever, they're kicking ass, And maybe the guys who remember me from Zappa don't know how to work an iPhone or anything. So who knows, But those are the concerns. And then the other thing that really bothers me is, radio jukeboxes, royalties from record companies, mechanical royalties from hard copy.
That's a whole
That
thing.
was the music business, right? We came up in. And now everybody puts everything out there, and I get a check for, or it's like the latest one was from Wolfgang's Vault, right? And it was 0.00025. Right, and so I mean, that's the percentage I get, which can't even be a penny, and they probably have $100 limit before they're going to send me a check,
Exactly.
right? And it used to be, well, still with some things that send me paper, it's like a small phone book of royalty things with this super low royalty, and maybe they've got $25, but it's $100 limit before they're going to send a check, and it costs them more than $100 in paper and calculations to print that out and send it to me. So, this I don't understand why music has become so devalued, and we don't have the unions or ASCAP, doing enough to Congress and getting these laws changed so we can make a living doing what we do. And it should be illegal for somebody to take my music, my image and likeness, and put it out there for free and me not get any dough for it. I mean, how can we continue if that's the standard?
Of course.
So I'm really for letting people know that, you're ripping us off and forgetting about us. And this goes to symphony orchestras and, just up and down the line of studio musicians, there's less and less work for us and less appreciation. And in the education system, less and less music, and not a cultural support of music in America. In Europe, it's a little better. In Japan, it's a little better. Their sensibilities, their education systems are better, and I hope that we can get back to something that was, what it was in terms of us. Otherwise, I look at myself as like possibly an admirable old polished steam engine that's no longer, we don't burn coal anymore, and we don't, it's nice to look at in a museum, but,
Well, thanks for making us all feel shit now.
No, I'm sorry,
Now
man. Unless we face this stuff, it's nothing's
you're
going to be
absolutely
done.
right.
So raise awareness.
Absolutely right. I mean, I completely agree with everything you said about publishing, and the music industry has changed drastically from when we started, and there are some things that are good about it and others that are very bad about it. And it's a new reality now. And there are new ways to monetize music now. It's much cheaper to make records now. You can publicize your own record. You don't need a press department, a publicist. You don't need a record company. You don't need a big fancy studio. So that's all great. That's technology that has helped us to make records cheap, make them sound great, and all that. You can promote your stuff on Instagram and Facebook and all these social media things to your fans. You can sell your record on a CD Baby and iTunes by yourself without anybody. That's all really good. And then there's the problem of, sharing, quote unquote, and illegal, BitTorrents and stuff. And of course, the streaming services. And this is a fairly recent problem. And that is the biggest problem in the music industry, streaming services. I mean, Napster and BitTorrents and stuff were a problem. But I think, the real problem is now streaming services, and it has to be regulated. In some countries, it is regulated, and they pay terrestrial royalties also on streaming services. Here, not. And you're absolutely right. People need to be made aware of that. And because for, I think, younger generations, this is a problem because every time they're listening to a streaming service, they're supporting a system that won't allow them ever to get any royalties, And I think because the younger generation hasn't experienced the other, alternative, it's the only reality they know, and that makes it difficult to educate, because doesn't want to get stuff for free all the time, and maybe listen to an ad every 3 songs, and that's fine as long as I get all the songs I want for free all the time. So, but Luke, give us the other side of the spectrum.
Well,
and can you loan me $50?
after this, I'm gonna need you to loan me $50.
Well, come on, you can't spend it.
I got this hand still. So I'm obviously. It's funny you mentioned your 2 bandmates are 26. I just turned 26, so I'm on the. Actually, man, I've had multiple conversations today about social media with my students, and I grew up in. When MySpace really came out, And I was like, what is this? I was like 12 years old. And I kind of developed this following, starting when I was 16 on YouTube, kind of an accident. And then I started touring because of it, and I got all the gigs. I think, Thomas, you found me off of YouTube when I was 21, maybe. And
it was before you were allowed to drink beer.
That's right. Yeah, we were in Asia, and I was like, wait, I can drink here? This is great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we went to South Korea together. We did some stuff. Yeah, so my experience with social media, I totally understand what both of you guys are saying. It's totally true and accurate, and I've luckily have guys like Thomas and other people that have been in the music industry for so long. I can see both sides of the spectrum pretty like pristine, you know? And unfortunately, there's nothing we can really, like, I feel like there's not a whole lot we can do about it. So what I've learned to do is kind of embrace it and just roll with the punches, you know? And yeah, I think I have one of the largest YouTube drum channels in the world, which is, you know, next month will be 10 years. 10 years ago I made it, which not a lot of people were doing it back then. So I was a little proactive on the spectrum of that. But I'm very grateful for the, one of my students today was from Alabama. Yep, right there, yep. So he's from Alabama, and we had this conversation. I'm from a little town called Peoria, Arizona, where there is no music scene. Alabama, there's no music scene, like in certain areas. And I was able to provide myself a platform that would have never existed in Peoria, Arizona through the internet. And yeah, through that, I've been touring. Like, I toured for 6 years nonstop, doing all the stuff that I've been doing because of the internet. So I have been on the positive receiving side of it, and I'm definitely grateful for it. But I see how it can like dramatically affect the music industry, and it's it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's important to kind of roll with the punches and sail with the wind. You know, when the wind changes, you gotta go, okay, oops, must adjust here. Which way is this all going? You know, if you wanna.
I mean, it's tough. Like even me, 26 years old, I still consider myself pretty tech savvy. You know, even I'm experiencing like, wait, what's happening every day? There's something new. So you have to really keep up with it, or you'll just get swallowed alive.
So you'll tag us, right? We'll be okay.
I'm actually live streaming this right now. No. I should, though.
I kind of feel bad for the younger generation. Like, I remember as myself being a kid, and when that record came out, there was only a couple ads in magazines, whatever, saying at so-and-so date, this is when the record hits. And you have to run to the record store. For instance, you go in there and getting that record and taking the wrapper off and smelling that vinyl and just looking at everything. And then you play it for hours and hours. Your mom's calling you for dinner, like, 5 more minutes, you know what I mean? And you're looking at all the liner notes and all the photos, and I kind of, I feel bad for like the younger generation not having
to miss that.
And running to the store. I'll never forget, 1976, Kiss Destroy came out, and I ran as fast as I could to the record store to make sure I got one of the records. Like, there were like 10 that were there, and so and I took it home. I spent weeks on that, just the artwork and everything. But social media, it is, you have to roll with the punches, you know? But,
one of the really good things, though, about self-production, which is what it is now, you don't have an A&R guy telling you what you can play.
Truth.
Remember
Very
that?
true. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've had some, well, I'm sure you have too. I won't mention any names.
Complete ignorance.
But we were doing one of our last records for Sony with Toto, and the A&R guy came by and had a meeting with us. And, the way we do music is kind of a little loose, We don't do demos, because the demos will have the danger of ending up as the master. So he goes back to Sony and discusses. He said, I've never met a bunch of more disorganized musicians in my life. Toto.
What?
All right? Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
But that's what we used to do. The A&R guy would come down and say, I don't like that one. Don't like that one. Well, what's this one? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I did a session one time for Bobby Colomby. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And, after the session, which he fired me from, the only time I've ever been fired in my
That was
life.
probably he was best at doing.
Yes. And
Generally, firing.
supposedly he had a disco guy and this guy and that guy, and he ended up bringing his crap down to the studio and playing on this one tune himself because nobody could get it right. One of the guys who came in was Jeff Porcaro, and he happened to listen to one tune. It was kind of like a Cars tune, but you know, after the verse and the chorus, it went into like some of these chords, and they were just like jump, 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 and so I'm filling in there. So it was like a lead guitar solo on the drums, right? Jeff comes in and goes, "Who the fuck is that?" and Bobby goes, "Oh, nobody, you know, it's this kid I know." And no, come on, Bobby, who is this guy, right? and Bobby goes, "Oh, it's this kid I discovered. His name's Terry Bozzio." And Jeff had come to UK and followed me through Zappa and was very kind and a fan. So he said, "Terry Bozzio? Some kid you discovered?" He picked up his stick bag and walked out and wouldn't work with him.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So, now the next step is, Bobby drives me home this night in his big Mercedes and everything, and because I lived a few blocks away from him, and I go, "Hey, here's my new band, Missing Persons, blah blah blah." The same stuff that sold whatever when it went on Spring Session and went gold, right? And he goes, he wrote me a rejection letter. The same stuff that his record company, Capitol, made a lot of money on, you know?
Yeah.
So they just don't know. They have no clue, and they're in your face. You know?
So that's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Very
Don't
good.
tell me what I can play or write.